You reported to the Society on Civic Matters. Was the community board?
Civic chairman. Community board had a committee of which I was chairman, the Westerleigh Area Committee. When I was on the community board, and I was chairman of that local committee that took up complaints. I was also chairman of the zoning and planning committee of the community board, for about 10 years. Appointed to the board by Borough President Connor. The fellow that really inspired me to really do a great job with that was Richie Langford from the Decker Avenue. And he and I, this is what I got into later on, which I thought was really lax on the part of the later committee. It had a zoning matter that involved a variance. Are you familiar with variances? I'm sure you are. Yeah. It's a petition by the owner of the property to use the property other than what it's zoned for. Yeah. And this, of course, as we would expect, has to be approved by the owners of properties adjacent to it. And the area that the law required that the adjacent property should be aware of extended 400 feet on each side of the site in question. Site in question where the variance would be. Now that's a big area.
Sure.
And when Richie and I were active on the zoning committee, we went around, we got flyers printed up by the community board and put a flyer in everybody's mailbox within those 400 feet, requiring them to report to the meeting of the zoning and planning committee, and at which time, simultaneously, I requested that the proposer of the variance, the attorneys and then whoever represented the client, be there also to explain what they're doing, so that the adjacent property owners would know, and then would have an opportunity to decide whether they would approve or not. Well, we did that religiously for almost 10 years, Richie and I. And
that's a lot of work.
Oh, a lot of work. You have no idea. And I was still working then. I was still on the job, working in the city. I wasn't retired. There was a lot of work. But we dedicated ourselves to making sure that these potential requests for variances were not desirable to other people around them, because to make sure that the people had a chance to oppose them.
Could you talk a little bit about the parade?
But yes, I never mentioned the parade. The parade was another time of the Second World War, probably. This fellow, William Gale, who lived in Kingsley Avenue, he was a Suedo patriot of some sort. I always considered him to be a Suedo patriot. He always took a great initiative to make sure that this parade would be held on was it Memorial Day, one of those days. Supposedly he was originally a Spanish-American war veteran, and I never found out what he did other than the fact that all they could tell me is that he served in the Philippine Islands after the war or something. And then the parade when I first came here was held in Fort Richmond, but then the last latter part of that parade project, it was held on Westcott Boulevard. The society became the prime sponsor of the parade on Westcott Boulevard. We organized it.
So where did the parade go from?
It came from Victory Boulevard, started off there, 1 block in from Victory. All the politicians lined up there, and all the marching units would line up on the side streets on either side. And as the politicians moved away from down Victory Boulevard, not Victory Boulevard, but Westcott Boulevard, all the others would fall in behind them. And they would march down all the way down Westcott Boulevard to Main Avenue, and then come down Main Avenue into the park, and that would be the end. It would terminate in the park.
And would there be a party of some kind?
Yes. Then they would have music and from the bandstand, and Bill Sharkoff often spoke there a little bit about the society and how we sponsor the parade and all this. But as I recall, the first Octoberfest that was proposed for that park was actually promoted by Emmanuel Union Church. Well, that thing took off. It was tremendous.
Wow.
I mean, we made that Oktoberfest not only cooked hot dogs and sausages and onions and all kinds of frankfurters and ice cream and I don't know if we had beer or not. I was chairman of the games committee.
Ah, okay.
And I organized all kinds of games for the kids.
Uh-huh.
Egg races, egg rolling, relay races, tug of wars.